Okay. Now I will solve the 49th question. The question is 12 times a cube minus 3 times ab square. Here, before do anything, we need to factor out the common terms of if they are if common terms are in both two terms, we need to factor it out. Here, 3 times a is common for both two terms. Then after factor out 3a, here the remain is 4 times a square. Then the second term, the remaining term is b square. Now we can rewrite 4 times a square as 2a whole square minus b square. Here we can see this is the difference of two squares. Then we can factorize this as first term minus second term times first term plus second terms. Oh, this is the final answer. Okay. Now I will solve the 58th question. The question is a times a plus 1 minus b times b plus 1. When we consider these two terms, there are no common factors. So first we need to simplify this. We can simply remove the brackets by multiplying these two terms. From this we get a square plus a. From this side we get minus b square minus b. Now we can see there is a two square terms. Then we need to group as them a one group. Then we can get a square minus b square. Then we have from remaining terms as a minus b. Now when we group in these two, we can use difference of square method. Then we get a minus b times a plus b. Here a minus b are still here. Now if we can consider these two terms, a minus b is common for both terms. Then we can factor out a minus b. Then here the remaining term is a plus b. And here the remaining term is 1. Then finally we can factorize this as a minus b times a plus b plus 1. As we know, the factorization means simply we need to write down the expression as the multiplication of some expressions. Here, this is the first expression. Here is the second expression. Between those, we have multiplied sign. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write down this also. Now I will solve the 69th question. It is x square plus 2ax plus a plus b times a minus b. Okay. When we uh, closely observe these two expressions, these two terms, here x and a term is belong to a one term. Then we need to simplify this to get back the a term for this group because x and a are in a one group. So we need to get all the terms with a letter for this group. Then we have x square 2x, and if we simplify this, we get a square minus b square. Then we consider this as a one group because here a and x are in a single term. Then here we have the square of the x term, and here we have square of the a term. Then we need to find that if this term, if the middle term is consist of two times first term times second term. Here we can see two times first term and second term is same as the middle term of the this expression. Then we can simply rewrite this as first term plus the second term whole square. Then we can rewrite this as x plus a whole square, and here the remaining term is minus b square. Here now we have two square terms, and there is a minus sign between them. Then we can use the method of difference of squares. Then we get first term minus second term times first term plus second term. Then finally we have the answer x plus a minus b times x plus a plus b. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write down this also. Okay, now we try 87th question. It is x to the power 8 plus x to the power 4 minus 20. Here, this is x to the power 4. And if we square that term, we get x to the power 8. Now we can see that here first is a square term. Then, but the first term is consist of the square of that term, and there is a minus 20 as a number. If we substitute x to the power 4 as t, then we can simply rewrite this as t to the power 2 plus t minus 20. This is a quadratic trinomial as we used to factorize easily. Then we need to find minus 20 as a multiplication of two numbers and plus 1 as a summation of those two numbers. Here we can easily find that those two numbers are plus 5 and minus 4. Plus 5 times minus 4 gives minus 20, and plus 5 plus minus 4 gives us plus 1. Then we can factorize this as t plus 5 times t minus 4. Then we need to remove t term and get back the original term. It is x to the power 4. Then here we have x to the power 4 plus 5 and x to the power 4 minus 4. Now we can see here there is a minus sign between those two terms, and minus 4 is 2 square. And we can rewrite x to the power 4 as x to the power 2 whole square. Then here we get difference of two squares. Then we can further simplify this expression as x to the power 2 whole square minus 2 whole square. Then we can simplify, we can factorize this as x to the power 4, x to the power 2 minus 2, and x to the power 2 plus 2. Okay. Now here we can rewrite 2 as root 2 whole square. Then this bracket is again they make difference of two squares. Then we can factorize further this whole fraction as x to the power 4 plus 5 times x minus root 2 times x plus root 2 times x square plus 2. This is the final answer for that question. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write down this. Now I will solve the 89th question. It is 6 times m to the power 6 minus 19 m to the power 3 times n to the power 3 minus 7 times n to the power 6. Here, if we substitute m square as m cube as x and n cube as y, we can rewrite this equation as 6 times x square minus 19 x times y minus 7 times y square. Now, we can think of this as a trinomial. Now, we can factorize this as this using by our shortcut method. It is, we can rewrite this as 6x square minus 19 times xy minus 7y square. Then we simply give this term to our constant term. Then we get x square minus 90xy minus 42y square. Now we need to find two numbers that give minus 42, and by multiplication those two numbers we need to get minus 42, and the summation of these two numbers must give 90. We can find out these two numbers as minus 21 and plus 2. Then we got 42 minus 42 by multiplication those two numbers, and minus 19 from the summation of those two numbers. Then we can write this as x minus 21 y times x plus 2y. Then we need to divide this constant term from the coefficient of x square, but we remove first. Then we need to simplify this fraction. This will give, we can divide both denominator and the numerator by 3. Here we get 2, here we get 7. Then we have minus 7y over 2. Here both numerator and denominator is cancelled out by 2. We can get 1 from numerator and 3 from denominator. Then we get x plus y over 3. Then we need to use the common denominator 3. Then here we get 2x minus 7y over 2 and 3x plus y over 3. Then we can simply cancel out these two terms. Then here we get our factors as 2x minus 7y times 3x plus y. Then we need to get back our x as m to the power 3 and y as n to the power 3. Then we get our final answer as 2 times m cube minus 7 times n cube and 3 times m cube plus 7 times plus n to the power cube. Okay, this is the final answer for the question. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write down this also. Okay, let's start the today's lesson. First, uh, we need to learn the factorization of sum and difference of cubes. First thing is the factorization of sum and difference of cubes. That means here we have a one cube term and we have another cubic term. Between those two terms, we can have plus or minus. If we get like this kind of expression, we need to find a way to factorize this. Before going into the sum and difference of cubes, I will give a short question for you. Based on your OL knowledge, try to expand this a plus b whole cube and a minus b whole cube. I will give 2 minutes for do this activity. Write down the expression of expansion of these two and send me the answers to WhatsApp. Based on our all knowledge, we can write this in one step as a cube plus 3 times a square b plus 3 times ab square plus b cube. If you can't remember this, then we can get back this as with our knowledge. Like here, we can rewrite this as a plus b times a plus b whole square. Then we know to expansion this term. Here we get a plus b, and we can expand a plus b whole square as a square plus 2ab plus b square. Then after removing brackets, we can get simply we can multiply this term from all the terms inside the bracket and separately multiply this term with all the terms in the brackets. Then we can get a cube plus 2 times a square b plus a times b square and plus a square b plus 2ab square plus b cube. Then these term as this a square b term, and there is another square a square b term, and here a times b square term, and here also a times b square term. Then by adding to these two terms, we get 3 times a square b, and adding these two terms, we get 3 times a b square. Then finally we get a plus b whole cube as a to the power 3 plus 2 times a 3 times a square b plus 3 times ab square plus b cube. This is the expansion of a plus b cube. Similarly, we can get the expansion of a minus b whole cube as a cube minus 3a square b plus 3a b square minus b cube. Or simply we can reduce a minus b whole cube from the answer that we get from a plus b whole cube. Let me repeat again. Here we can deduce the final expansion of a minus b whole cube from the answer that we get to the expansion of a plus b whole cube. Okay. Here what we do is here simply a minus b whole cube can be written as a plus minus b whole cube. Here we have the first term as a and the second term as minus b. They are between them we have plus sign, and here we have the power of 3. Then the answer here we get for a plus b whole cube is the cube of the first term. First term is a cube plus 3 times our first term is a square. Here our second term is minus b. Then here minus b. And again plus sign. This is our first term a. And here a plus b. This means the square of the second term. But here we get minus b as our second term. Then we can write this as minus b whole square plus the cube of the second term. Here second term is minus b whole cube. Then we can further simplify this as a cube. Here minus sign go in front and we get minus 3 times a square b plus 3a b square. We know that minus b times minus b is plus b square. Then we get minus b times minus b as minus b to the power 3. Then finally we get from this term minus b cube. Then we can expand that a minus b whole cube as a cube minus 3a square b plus 3ab square minus b cube. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this. Okay. Let me rewrite our results. Here for a plus b whole cube, we get a cube plus 3a square b plus 3ab square plus b cube. And for a minus b whole cube, we get a cube minus 3a square b plus 3ab square minus b cube. Okay. Today our first topic was sum or difference of two cubes. That means we have two cubes. Between them, we have plus sign or minus sign. Here, when we see this whole expression, simply in our right hand side, we can find out two cubes. The first one is a to the power 3, and the second term is b to the power 3. Then here we get a plus b whole cube is equal to, we close these two terms as a 1 2. Then we can get a to the power 3 plus b to the power 3 plus the remaining terms are a 3 times a square b plus 3 times ab square. Now we try to subject these two terms at a one as a one term. Then we get a cube plus b cube as simply we pass these two terms to the left hand side. Then we know that between equal sign, if there is a term plus as in our right hand side, when we change it to left hand side, the sign will get minus. Then we can have a plus a cube plus b cube as a plus b whole cube minus 3a square b minus 3ab square. Now, in our left hand side, we get sum of two cubes. Here we get sum of two cubes. In our right hand side, we get a plus b whole cube minus 3a square b minus 3ab square. Now our final goal is factorize these two terms. If we able to factorize these three expressions, then we can find out the final results for factorization of the summation of two cubes. Here we have a plus b whole cube. When we consider these two terms, simply we can find out as minus 3 times ab is common for both these two terms. Let me repeat. Here, when we consider these two terms, we can see that minus 3 times a times b is common for both two terms. Then after factor out those terms, we get a plus b inside the bracket. Then if we observe these two terms, we can get a plus b as a common term for both. Then we get a plus b whole square minus 3ab. Then we know how to expand this term. Then we get a plus b times by expanding a plus b whole square, we get a square plus 2ab plus b square. Then here a remaining term is minus 3 times ab. Then finally we get a plus b. Here a square from these two terms we get minus ab. Then here plus b square is removed. Now finally we get for the results of a cube plus b cube. Here we have summation of two cubes and it is factorized as a plus b times a square minus ab plus b square. Okay. This is the factorization result of the summation of two cubes. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this. So previously we get our a minus b whole cube expansion as a cube minus 3 times a square b plus 3 times ab square minus b cube. Here we can see there is a cubic term, and here also there is cubic term. When we group these two together, we can get a minus b whole cube as a cube minus b cube minus 3 times a square b plus 3a b square. Here, our second goal is try to find the factorization method for difference of two cubes. Here, we can see there is a difference of three cubes. Then we need to subject those two terms from the whole expression, from the whole formula. Here, we get a cube minus b cube as a minus b whole cube plus 3 times a square b minus 3 times ab square. Then from these two terms, we can see 3 times ab is common for both two terms. Then we can factor out 3 times ab, and here remain a, and from this term there is a remaining minus b. Then we can see both these two terms have a minus b as a common term. Then if we factor out those this term, then here a minus b whole square is remain, and here 3 times ab is remaining. Then we have a cube minus b cube as a minus b times. We can expand this with our knowledge. We know that we get a square minus 2ab plus b square plus 3ab. Then finally we get a cube minus b cube as a minus b times a square plus ab plus b square. This is the final factorization of the difference of two cubes. Okay. I will give another 2 minutes to write down this. Okay. Now here we learn the factorization of a cube plus b cube as a plus b times a square minus ab plus b square, and the factorization of a cube minus b cube as a minus b times a square plus ab minus b square, so plus b square. Here for our A levels, we need to memorize this factorization. And here is a short cut trick for memorize these two expressions at once. Here we see this is first, uh, here the two cubic terms are, there is a plus sign between two cubes. Then here we can see the first term is same as the plus sign. This has the plus sign. Then between the first bracket we have the plus sign. Here we get minus sign. Here in the first term we have the same sign. Let me repeat. Here the first term, here our sum of two cubes. We have the plus sign between them. And now in the factorization, in the first factor, if the two terms also, there is a plus sign between those two terms. Here we can see the first sign is same as the question given. This is the same sign. If we have minus sign, then the first bracket is minus sign. Then if we observe the second sign, here plus sign becomes minus sign. And the first sign of the second term, it is also the minus sign becomes plus sign. Then for the both factorization techniques, here the second sign is opposite. The first sign is same as the question given, and the second sign is opposite of that sign. Here also this the first sign of the second bracket is opposite. Let me repeat. The first sign is same as the question given, and the second sign is opposite of the given question. Both for the a cube plus b cube and a cube minus b cube, the pattern is same for both two factorizations. Then the final sign is for the both terms, both methods. The final sign is always positive. Let me repeat. The final sign is always positive for both factorization techniques. Then simply we can memorize this as, here we get H letter from the same side and O letter for opposite to represent the opposite. And we get A and P letters for represent always positive. Here we get same. Here we get opposite. Here we get always positive. Then we simply memorize the word soap. We all know this word from our childhood. Simply we remember the word soap. The terms behind this is same, and opposite and always positive. I think this shortcut method will help many students because in their O levels they can't sometimes they can't remember the actual signs of between those terms. Here, if they give a cube plus b cube, we simply write two terms. Here we have ab. Between them, we have the same sign as the question give. Here plus sign. Then we write a a square. After that, our soap method, it will say the second sign must be opposite. Then second sign must be minus. Then we have AB term. Then our shortcut method say the last sign must be always positive. Then we can factorize this as simply this. Then if we consider a cube minus b cube, we have a and b term first. Here our shortcut method say that the first sign is same as the question given. Then first sign is minus. Then the second sign must be opposite. It is plus. Then we have AB. Then our my last sign is always positive. Okay. Now I think you can memorize this word and simply check the all the sign between those terms. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this. Now let's do some question to practice these two factorization techniques. First one is if we have x cube plus y cube. Here the first term is x plus y. Then the second bracket is consist of x square minus xy plus y square. Here the same sign, here the opposite sign, here always positive. Now we take another example. 8 times x cube plus 27. Here we need to find the first term as a whole cube and the second term as whole cube. Here 8 is 2 to the power 3 and 27 is 3 to the power 3. Then we can write this as 2 to the power 3 times x cube plus 3 to the power 3. Here we can rewrite this as 2 times x whole cube plus 3 whole cube. Then we can rewrite our question as 2x to the power 3 plus 3 to the power 3. Now we have two cubic terms and between them we have plus sign. Then we can factorize this as first term plus second term times the square of the first term 4x square minus first term 2x times the second term 3 plus square of the second term. Then finally we can rewrite this as 2x plus 3 times 4x square minus 6x plus 9. This is the answer of the final factorization. So let me repeat another example. Here we get 8 minus 64 y cube. Here 8 means 2 to the power 3. 64 means 4 to the power 3. Then we can rewrite this question as 2 to the power 3 minus 4y to the power 3. Then simply we can factorize this as 2 first term minus second term. Okay, I will give another way to factorize this. Like this, now we get first term minus second term times we get square of the first term 2 square. Then we get opposite side. Then we get the first term and the second term. Finally, we get always positive sign and the square of the second term. Now here we get 2 minus 4y times 4 plus 8y plus 16y square. This for factorization this we get we got our formula of difference of two cubes. But we can do factorization with another technique for this. We can use another technique for factorize this. Here we have 8 minus 64 y cube. We have our golden rule. Before factorization, any expression, we need to find out whether there is a common term for all the terms. Here, easily we can observe 8 is common for both terms. Then simply we can factor out 8 before doing the any factorization techniques. Then we can have 1 minus 8 times y cube. Now we know 1 is 1 to the power 3 and 8 is 2 to the power 3. Then we can rewrite our question as 1 to the power 3 minus 2y whole cube. Then we can factorize this as 8 times 1 plus 1 minus 2y times 1 square plus 1 times 2y plus 2y whole square. Then we get 8 times 1 minus 2y times 1 plus 2y plus 4y square. From this, we observe this kind of a result. But you can see there is a difference between the previous answer and this answer. But we can prove both are same. Here, when we observe the first term, we can factor out 2 as common term. And we observe this whole expression, we can factor out 4 as common term. Let me rewrite that. Here, in our previous results, we get 4 minus, we got 2 minus 4y times 4 plus 8y plus 16y square. From this, we can factor out 2. Then we get 2 times 1 minus 2y. From this 4 terms, these 3 terms, we can factor out 4. Then we get 4 times 1 plus 2y plus 4y square. Then finally we have 2 times 1 minus 2y times 4 times 1 plus 2y plus 4y square. Then we know that 2 times 4 is 8. Then we can have our final answer 8 times 1 minus 2y times 1 plus 2y plus 4y square. I will give 1 minute to write down this result also. Okay. Now I will give 3 questions to try out to. First one is 8x cubed minus 27y cubed. The second question is 125 x cubed y minus 1000 times y to the power 4. Third question is 27 x cubed minus 216 b cubed. I will give 3 minutes to do that, do this, and send me the answers to WhatsApp. Our first question is 8 times x cube minus 27 times y cube. Here there is no common term for these two terms. And we know that 8 times x cube means 2x to the power 3 minus 27 is 3 to the power 3. Then 27 times y cube means 3y whole cube. Then we can factorize this as this is our question. Then we can write this as first term minus second term, square of the first term plus 2 times those two terms, the multiplication. So plus multiplication of those two terms. That means 2x times 3y, then always positive 3y whole square. Then finally we get 2x minus 3y, the square of the first term, the multiplication of those two terms, and the square of the last term. Here. Our second question is 125 times s cube times y minus 1000 times y to the power 4. Here we have 1000. We know that 250 times 4 is 1000. We can rewrite 250 as 2 times 125 times 4 is 1000. Then we can rewrite 1000 as 125 times 8. We can replace 1000 from 125 times 8. Then here we get 125 times x cube times y minus 125 times 8 times y to the power 4. Then if we observe these two terms, we can see that 125 is common for both two terms. And also we can see y also common for both terms. Then we can simply factor out 125 times y. Then the remaining terms are from the first term, x cube is remain. And from the second term, y to the power 3 is remain. Then we know the way how to factorize difference of two cubes. Then our final result is 125 times y times x minus y times x square plus xy plus y square. This is the final answer for the second question. So I will give 2 minutes to write down these two answers and we'll do the last question after that. Our last question was 27 x cube minus 216 b cube. Here 27 means 3 to the power 3 and 216 means 6 to the power 3. Now we can rewrite 6 to the power 3 as 2 times 3 to the power 3. Here simply we replace 6 by 2 times 3. Then we get 3 to the power 3 x cube minus 2 to the power 3 times 3 to the power 3 times b cube, because we can simply rewrite this as 2 to the power 3 times 3 to the power 3. That means a times b to the power n means a to the power n times b to the power n. Now, when we see these two terms, we can see 3 to the power 3 is common for both two terms. Then we can factor out 3 to the power 3. Then here remains x to the power 3 minus 2 cube times b cube. Then this is 3 to the power 3 times x cube minus 2b whole cube. Then we can factor out this as 3 to the power 3 times first term minus second term times square of the first term plus sign multiplication of those two terms 2bx plus the square of the second term. Then we got our final answer as this. Then we can rewrite t to the power 3 as 27. Then the final answer is 27 times x minus 2b times x square plus 2bx plus 4b square. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this. I will do another example to practice this. That we have 8 to the power 8 times a to the power 3 plus b plus c whole cube. Then we can write this as 2a to the power 3. And there is a plus sign. And here we have b plus c whole cube. Here simply we have sum of two cubes. Then we can factorize this as first term plus second term in our one bracket. In our second bracket, we can write square of the first term minus first term times second term and plus second term whole square. Let me repeat. First, we get our first term then we get the same sign, then we get the first term. After that, we square our first term and we get the opposite sign and we get the then we get the first term times the second term. Finally, we get our always positive sign and the square of the first term. Okay. Then we have 2a plus b plus c times 4a square minus 2a times b plus c plus b plus c whole square. So now we can further simplify those terms inside this bracket. Now we can rewrite this as 2a plus b plus c times 4a square. We can simplify this term as minus 2ab minus 2ac, and we can expand b plus c whole square as b square plus 2ab 2bc plus c square. Then finally we have 2a plus b plus c. We can see there are three square terms. We can write those three close to each other. 4x square plus b square plus c square. Then we have minus 2ab minus 2ac plus 2bc. This is the final answer. I will give 1 minute to write down this also. Here I will give another one question to do by you all. Is a cube minus 27 times b minus c whole cube. Try out this question and send me the answer within 2 minutes. The question is a cube minus 27 times b minus c whole cube. Okay. Here we get a cube minus 27 b minus c cube. Here 27 can be written as 3 to the power 2. Then here we have a cube minus 3 times b minus c whole cube. Then we can factorize this as first term minus second term times square of the first term, opposite sign, first term times second term times square of the second term. Then here we have a minus 3b plus 3c, and we can simplify this bracket as a square times 3a times b minus c plus 9 times b minus c whole square. Then we get a minus 3b plus 3c times a square plus 3ab minus 3ac plus 9 times. We can expand this as b square minus 2bc plus b square. Here then we get a minus 3b plus 3c times, here we have a square term, and plus 3. Here we have a square term. Here we have b square term. Here we have c square term. We group together all these square terms. Then we get a square plus 9b square plus 9c square. Then the remaining terms are 3ab minus 3ac minus 2bc. So here we get minus 2bc times 9. That means minus 18bc. This is the final answer for that question. I will give 1 minute to write down this. I will give another questions for do your own. First one is x cube plus 1 over x cube. The second one is x to the power 6 minus y to the power 6. The third question is a plus b whole cube minus a minus b whole cube. Try to factorize these three and send me answers within 4 minutes. Okay, I will solve these questions. First one is x cube plus 1 over x cube. Here first term we can write as x to the power 3. And here our second term is 1 over x to the power 3. Here we have one cubic term and here we have another. Then we know if we have a cube plus b cube, we can write as a plus b times a square minus ab plus b square. That means first term plus the second term. Then here we have the square of first term, then the opposite side, and the multiplication of first term times second term, and finally we get always positive side and the square of the second term. Okay. By this, now we can write our first term is x to the power 3, and now second term is 1 over x to the power 3. Here the power is belong to x term. Here this power belongs to 1 over x. Then we can think of this is a and this is b. Then we can factorize as simply first term plus second term. Then we open another bracket. Then we get square of the first term, then the opposite side, then first term times the second term, then finally always positive side and the square of the second term. Then we get x plus 1 over x times x square. Here x is cancelled out with this x and remain minus 1 plus 1 over x square. This is the answer for the first question. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write down this. Our second question is x to the power 6 minus y to the power 6. Here we can write this as x to the power 2 whole cube minus y to the power 2 whole cube. Then here we have our first term as a cubic term and our second term also as a cubic term. Then we can factorize this as first term minus second term, like first term, the same sign as the question, and the second term. Then we have the square of the first term, then the opposite side, then the first term times second term. Then again always positive sign and the square term of the second term. Then finally we have x square minus y square times x to the power 4 plus x square y square plus y to the power 4. Then if we closely see this, we can find that this also further factorized by using the difference of squares. Then we can write this as x minus y times x plus y. Then we can write back this as x to the power 4 plus x square y square plus y to the power 4. Okay. I will give another 1 minute to write down this. Now our last question is a plus b whole cube minus a minus b whole cube. Here our first term is a plus b and our second term is a minus b. Then we can factorize this as first term, the same sign between the question and the second term. Then we get the square of the first term and opposite side times first term times second term. Then we get always positive sign and the second term square of the second term. Then we get a plus b minus a plus b. Here we simplify this by removing the brackets. From here we get a plus b whole square, and we can see this is the factorization of difference of two squares. Then we can write that it as a square minus b square. Then here we have the remaining a minus b whole square. Then here we get minus a and plus a are cancelled out. Then we get 2b. From here, we can expand a plus b whole squares, a square plus b square plus 2 times ab. Then here we have remaining a square. Then here we have remaining minus b square. Again, we can expand this as a square minus 2ab plus b square. Then we can write back 2b, and here we have a square term, and here also we have a square term, and here also we have a square term. Then finally we get 3 times a square term. Here we get b square term, here we get minus b square term. Then simply these two terms cancel out, but there is a remaining b square term. Then we have another b square term. Here we have 2ab plus 2ab. Here we have minus 2ab. Simply those two terms also cancel out. Then finally we have these terms on. Then the final answer is 2b times 3a square plus b square. This is the final answer for that question. I will give 1 minute to write down this also. Okay, let's get a 5 minute break and come back around 11:25. So the last day we learned the expansion of a plus b square. Here we get square of the first term and the square of the second term and 2 times multiplication of those two terms. Now we are going to learn if there is a 3 terms inside the bracket, like if there is a one term plus another term and plus another term. What is the final expansion of the this? Here we square the summation of 3 terms a and b and c. This can be any variables. Okay. Here first I will show how the final results come. Here we get a+b+c whole square. Here we know if there is a 2 terms, then we know how to write the result at one step. Now we can see still there is only 2 terms. Like we can write this as a plus we can group these two terms as one group. Then this is a, like one variable. This is another variable. Simply we group together these two terms, and simply we can write this as a is our first term and there is a plus sign. Our second term is b plus c. Then we have whole square. Then we know that the final answer of this expansion is this expansion is square of the first term, square of the second term. Here our second term is b plus c, and 2 times first term times second term. Then we have this as a square. We can expand this also. From this we get square of the first term, square of the second term, plus 2 times multiplication of those two terms. Then we can simplify this bracket. Then we have 2a times b plus c. Here we have 2ab plus 2ac. Then finally we have a plus b plus c whole square expansion of the a plus b plus c whole square as a square plus b square plus c square plus 2bc plus 2ab plus 2ac. This is the expansion of a plus b plus c whole square. I will give 1 minute to write down this. Now we have our a plus b plus c expansion as a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab plus 2bc plus 2ac. Here we can memorize this as here simply we have square of the first term, and here we have square of the second term. Here we have square of the third term. Then here we have 2 times first term and the second term. Here a is first term, b is second term, and here we have square of, here we have 2 times second term and the third term, and finally we have 2 times first term and the last term. Let me repeat again. Here First, we have the multiplication of the a and b, simply first term and second term. Here we have the sum multiplication of the second term and the third term. Here we have multiplication of the first term and the last term. Here, if we have three terms, we can have a times b, b times c, and a times c as the product of 2 by 2 when we group them together. Let me repeat. Here, simply we can write this expansion at once as first we square the each term separately. Then we add 2 times AB plus 2 times BC plus 2 times AC. Okay. I think you understand that method. I will do some example for practice that method. If we have x plus 2y plus 3z whole square, then our final answer is first we square the first term and we square the second term and we square the third term. Then we do 2 times first term and the second term plus 2 times first term and the second term. And finally plus, sorry, here first do 2 times first term and the second term. Then 2 times second term and the third term. Then finally 2 times first term and the last term. We get all the combinations that can be formed by using these three. That is xy and yz and xz. Then our final answer is x square. This is simplified as 4 times y square. This is simplified as 9 times z square. And this can simplify as 2 times 2 is 4. Then 4 times xy. Then here 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3, 12. Then we get 12y z. And finally, we get 2 times 3 is 6. Then we get 6x z. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this. Okay. I will do another example. This is a plus bc plus 3d whole square. Then the first thing we need to do is square all the terms. First term square is a square. Second term is b square, c square. Last term, square of the last term is 9 times d square. Then we need to do 2 times first term times second term. Here second term is bc plus 2 times second term times third term. Then plus 2 times first term and the second and the last term. Then finally we have a square plus b square c square plus 9b squared plus here we get 2abc, 2abc. Here we get 2 times 3 is 6, 6 bcd, and we get the final term as 2 times 3 is 6 a d. Write down this, and I will give two questions for do by your own. First one is 3x plus 2y plus 5 whole square, and other one is ab plus ac plus bc whole square. Expand these two terms and send me the results through WhatsApp. I will give 3 minutes for this. Simply here, square of the first term, square of the second term, square of the third term, and 2 times multiplication of these two terms, and multiplication of these two terms, and multiplication of first term and the last term. So try your own these two equations. I will do the two questions. Here first we have 3x plus 2y plus 5 whole square. Then the answer is square of the first term, square of the second term plus square of the last term. Then we get 2 times first term times second term plus 2 times second term times third term plus 2 times first term and the last term. Here we can simplify this as 9x square plus 4y square plus 25 plus here we can simplify this as 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 2 is 2, then 12x1. Here 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 5 is 20. We have 21. Finally, we have 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 5 is 30, 30 x is the final answer. Here our second question is AB plus AC plus BC whole square. Then here we have the final answer, square of the first term, square of the second term, square of the third term. Then we have 2 times first term times second term plus 2 times second term plus third term plus 2 times first term and the last term. Then we can simplify this as a square b square plus a square c square plus b square c square plus here we get a times a square and 2a square bc. Here we get c times c is c square and there is a remaining a and b term and 2. Then from this whole terms we get 2 times ab c square. From the last part we get 2 times a times b square c. This is the final answer. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write down this. Okay, now we are going to learn what if there is a minus sign between those terms. How to learn expansion of that kind of a equation. Like if we have a plus b minus c square, what is the expansion of this? Like if we have a minus b plus c whole square, what is the expansion of this? Or if we have a minus b minus c whole square. Now we are going to learn how to expand these kind of expression. Like if we have minus sign instead of plus sign. Okay, I will explain from one example how to expand those kind of expressions. Here think we have a plus b minus c whole square. Here we can think of this as a plus the second term plus the third term as minus c. Let me repeat. Here, our first term is c. Then we have plus sign. Our second term is b. Then we can think minus c as plus minus c. Then this is our third term. Then we have always positive signs between consecutive two terms. Let me repeat. We always try to add plus sign between all the terms. Here we can think a plus b minus c as a plus b plus minus c. If they give a minus b plus c, then we can think this as a plus second term as minus b plus third term. If they give a minus b minus c, then we can think this as a plus minus b plus minus c. The final goal is always to differentiate each terms by positive sign. Here always we have positive signs. Why we do that? Because up to now we know if there is a positive sign always between terms, we know the except one step to write the final answer of this expansion. Then if they give this kind of term, we need to write those terms as uh, those terms by differentiation each consecutive terms with positive sign. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write down these three examples and then I will expand those expansions. Okay, now we try to expand this. Here we get here we here they give a plus b minus c whole square. The first thing is we need to write this as a plus b plus minus c because we always need to differentiate each term with positive sign. Okay, now we can make our we can use our shortcut method. It is square of the first term, square of the second term, square of the third term. Then plus 2 times first term times second term. Then plus time plus 2 times second term and the third term. Then plus 2 times first term and the last term. Then we get a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab minus 2bc minus 2ac. This is the final answer of the expansion. Let me do another example. If we get a minus b minus c whole square, then we get our final result as, first we formate this as a plus minus b plus minus c whole square. Then our shortcut method gives us square of the first term, square of the second term, square of the third term, plus 2 times first term and the second term, plus 2 times second term and the last term, plus 2 times first term and the last term. Then we get the final result as a square plus b square plus c square minus 2ab. Here plus a times minus b means minus 2ab, and we get minus times minus is plus, then we get plus 2bc, and finally we get minus 2ac. This is the final answer. Again, I will give 1 minute to write down these two expressions. Okay, I will do another example. Here we have 3x minus 2y plus z whole square. Then first we need to write down this as 3x plus minus 2y plus z whole square. Then we get square of the first term, square of the second term, plus square of the third term. Then we get 2 times first term times second term plus 2 times second term times third term plus 2 times first term times last term. Okay. Then we get 9x square, plus from this we get 4y square, from this we get z square, from this we get 2 times 3, 6, 6 times minus 2 means minus 12. Then we get minus 12 xy. From here we get 2 times minus 2 means minus 4, minus 4 y z. Here we get 2 times 3 means 6, then 6 x z. Okay. Now I will give some questions to try by your own. First one is x minus 3y minus 5 is a whole square. Second one is AB minus AC minus BC whole square. And the last one is A minus B minus 2C whole square. Okay. Try to finish those three questions within 4 minutes and send me the answer. I will do this question. First one is x minus 3y minus 5z whole square. Then we write this as x plus minus 3y plus minus 5z whole square. Then here we have x plus minus 3y plus minus 5z whole square. Then final answer is square of the first term, square of the second term, square of the last term. Then we get 2 times first term times second term and 2 times second term times third term and 2 times first term and last term. Then we get x square plus 9y square plus 25z square minus from this we get 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Then we get minus 6 times x. Here 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Minus 6 times minus 5 is plus 30. We get plus 30 y. And from last term we get 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. We get minus 10 x. Our second question is AB minus AC minus BC whole square. Here we write this as first term plus second term as minus AC plus the third term as minus BC whole square. Then we get A square B square as the first term, square of the first term, and the square of the second term as A square C square plus square of the third term as B square C square and then plus 2 times first term times second term and plus 2 times second term times third term and finally plus 2 times first term times last term. Then we get a square b square plus a square c square plus b square c square. Then from here we get minus 2 times a square bc. From this we get minus times minus plus. Then we get 2 times c square. Then we get abc square. And finally we get minus 2a b square c. This is our final answer. So now in our previous day, if we give a plus b whole square, then we are able to write its expansion as this. Then we also try, if someone give the expansion, then we try to write back the a plus b whole square as a this term. Let me repeat again. If someone give us to expand this, then we expand that as a square plus b square plus 2ab. After that, if they give like this, like three terms of like a square plus b square plus 2ab, then we are able to write that down the expansion of this as a plus b whole square. Now we need to do the same way for this one also. Now here, if someone give a plus b plus c whole square, today we were able to write this as a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab plus 2ac plus 2bc. We were able to write this. Now, if someone give these expressions, we need to write that down it as like this. It is somewhat difficult than the expansion of this. Okay. Now, let's try to identify how we can do this expansion back again. Here, like previous, let me get two examples for you. One is a plus b plus whole square. Here, we get our results as a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab plus 2ac plus 2bc. Here, if we get a plus b minus c whole square, then we got our result as a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab minus 2bc minus 2ac. This is the expansion we got for a plus b minus c whole square. And this is the expansion we get a plus b plus c whole square. Now, if someone gives us this expression, we need to write it back as a plus b plus c whole square. Okay. Now think someone give us this expression a plus b plus c square plus 2ab plus 2ac plus 2bc. Okay. First thing we need to identify is there is there are six terms here. There are six terms. From these three six terms, we have three square terms. Previously, simply we square our term and got this term. We square this term and got this term. We square this last term and get the term. Okay. Now here, now we need to find three terms that will square of the whole expression, give the final results like this. Here, simply we identify the terms as terms from the square term. Here, one is a square. Then we know that this term can be get from square of the a. Then simply we put a is here, a in here. Then we know that b square can be get from square of the b. Then simply we put b from b here. Then after observing the c square term, we know that it can be get from plus c square. Then we always put a positive sign for the first term. We always put positive term for the first term. Then we look our first term. Here, this is plus 2ab. Now this term must be obtained from the multiplication of the other 2 times our first term and our second term. Now we know our first term is always a positive term. Then the final result of the AB product is also positive. Then our second term always need to be positive. Let me repeat again. Here our first term is positive, and here we get this term from the multiplication of the first term and the second term. Here our final result also the positive one. Then if A is positive, then the second term also must be a positive term. Okay. Now if we look back this term, here this term is also positive 2 times AC. Here we know that our A is our positive term. Then this multiplication should be get from the multiplication of the first term and the last term. Since this is also positive, this need to be positive. Why? If we get if positive multiplication by a positive number, then we get positive answer. Then the final answer of this is a+b+c whole square. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this and explain this. I think this is much more difficult to understand this example. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this. Okay. Now I will do the second example for you. Now think someone give you this expression a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab minus 2bc minus 2ac. Okay. Now you want to find the three terms that will give you the square of the three terms that will give the square of those three terms as this. Okay. Simply we can first we look at the square terms. Then we can identify first term is a, second term is b, third term is c. Then the second step is we always put positive sign for this. Then when we observe this, we have plus sign. That means a and b, here a is plus, then b also need to plus to make the final sign as a positive sign. Then this term also plus. Now if we observe this term, now we we know our b term is positive, but our final result is negative. Then our last term must be always negative term. Let me repeat. Here we identify b as a positive number. Then we identify the final result is negative. Then c must be the last term must be negative term. We can find out that result from last term also. Here we found out a is always positive. Then the final result of the A and the C term is negative. Then C should be always negative to product of these becomes negative. Then our final result is A plus B minus C whole square. Okay. I will give 1 minute to write down this and explain another two example for you for further understanding. Okay, let's get another example. Think we have x square plus 4y square plus 9z square plus 4xy plus 6xz plus 12yz. Okay. Now we need to find three terms that give this result. Okay. From here, this is the square of x. From this, we can see that this is the square of 2y. From this, we can see that this is the square of 3z. Then we can identify first term as x, second term as 2y, and the last term as 3z. Okay. Now, when we look back the x term and y term multiplication of the x term and y term, its sign also positive. Then, if x is positive, then y term should be always positive. Then, if we observe this term, we know that x is always positive. Then, to become the product of the x and z to plus sign, then this term also should be positive. Then further we can understand that by using the last term. Here we get y as a positive sign, then we got y times z final answer as a positive answer. Then since y is positive, then z should be need to z also need to be positive. Then the final answer of this is x plus 2y plus 3z whole square. Okay, let me do another example. Think we have a square plus 9b square plus 16c square minus 6ab minus 8ac plus 24bc. So now we need to find three terms that gives whole square as this. Here we get a square means square of the a. 9b square means square of the 3b. 16c square means square of the 4c. First, we identify those three terms from the square terms. Then we get you always positive sign for a. Then by going to this term, we can identify this is the multiplication of a and b. Here a is positive, but the final result is negative. So the b term should be a negative term. Then we get negative sign as this. Here, when we observe multiplication of a and c, here final sign is negative, but a is positive. Then to become the final sign negative, then c must be always negative. Then if we observe the last term, it is 24 times BC. Okay, it is a plus sign. Here we observe that B is a minus value. Then to become the positive, C also need to be a minus value because we know that minus times minus is positive. Then this should be the our final answer. Then we can write this as A minus 3B minus 4C whole square. Okay, I will give another 2 minutes to write down these two. Now I will give some question to try by your own. First one is P square plus Q square plus R square minus 2PQ minus 2PR minus 2QR. Second one is A square plus 4B square plus C square plus 4AB plus 2AC plus 4BC. Third one is 4X square plus Y square plus 9Z square minus 4XY plus 12XZ minus 6YZ. Fourth one is 16P square plus 4Q square plus 9R square minus 16PQ plus 24PR minus 12QR. Okay. Do this for question and send me the answers within 5 minutes. Okay, now I will do these those four questions. Here, from square terms, we can observe that first term is p and the second term is q and the last term is r. Here, we put always positive sign for p. Then, here we observe this is the minus sign. Then, p times q must be a minus answer, negative answer. Then, since p is positive, q should be a negative. Then, when observing this, we also got a negative answer. Then from we know that p is a positive sign. Then r should be a negative value. Here, the equation should be correct as need to be correct as plus 2q. Then the first question answer for the first question is p minus q minus r whole square. So I will give 1 minute to write down this answer. So from the second term, from the second question, here this is need to be a whole square. Then we can identify the first term as a. First term is a. Here 4b square means 2b whole square. Then the second term is 2b. Here c square means c whole square. Then from here a times b is a positive sign. Since this is always positive, then b need to be positive. Here sign of a times c is also positive. Since a is always positive, c need to be positive. Then the final answer of this is a plus 2b plus c whole square. I will give 1 minute to write down this also. Now look up. Now we will try to solve the third question. Here this can be formed by the square of the 2x. Then our first term is 2x. Y square is can be formed using y whole square. Then 9 is a square means 3 is a whole square. Then this term is 3 is a. When we look our xy term, here sign is negative. Since x first term is always positive, to become the negative sign, y always need to be a negative value. When we see this, x time z is a positive value. Since x is a positive value, z should be a positive value also. If we further look our third term, we can observe that y times z value is negative value. Since y is negative, z should be a positive value to become y times z to negative value. Then the final answer is 2x minus y plus 3z whole square. Okay. I will give another 1 minute to write down this answer. Okay. This is our last question. Here, this term is formed by 4p whole square. This term is 2q whole square. This term is 3r whole square. Then the three terms are 4p and 2q and 3r. Then if we look this term, here sign is negative. Since p is always positive, to become pq a negative sign, q should be a negative sign value. Let me repeat again. Here, pq product of the pq gives a minus value. Since p is a positive sign value, then q must be a negative sign value. If we look for this term, here pr term is positive. That means since p is positive, then r should be a positive value to become the final product as a positive value. Then if we further look the last term, here we get minus 12 times qr. Since q is a negative value, to become the final product as a negative value, r should be a the term with r should be a positive term. Then we can get the final result as 4p minus 2q plus 3r whole square. So I will give another 1 minute to write down this. So today we will learn we today we learned that the factorization of the sum of two cubes and difference of three cubes and factor and expansion of the square of a three term expression. Afterwards, we need to learn binomial expansion. That means a plus b. The expansion is n. N would be 2, 3, 4, or any number. Afterwards, we will start our first lesson of A level combined maths. That is the first lesson we need to learn in our grade 2. Then I will plan to start the first lesson of the A level on next week. Okay. I think you will understand all the things that I teach today, and hope I will plan to learn binomial expansion, plan to teach binomial expansion and the first lesson of the combined maths subject tomorrow. So the next week. Next week class will be on Sunday at 3 p.m. Okay. Then goodbye and have a nice day.